In 20 years of teaching high school computer science, there's only one student I consider a true failure. Not his failure, mine. His name was Leo Cantor. He was the most brilliant, disruptive, and infuriating student I ever had. I gave up on him. Last week, I found out he just bought our school. Leo wasn't a typical troublemaker. He was quiet, almost shy, but his actions were loud. He was a digital poltergeist. During my lectures, the smartboard would suddenly start playing 8-bit video game music. Library printers would spontaneously churn out hundreds of pages of ASCII art. He once changed the automated school bell to sound like a sheep bleating. I saw it as a desperate cry for attention, a profound lack of discipline. I did everything I could. I gave him detentions, which he served silently. I called his parents, who were just as bewildered as I was. I gave him advanced work, which he'd finish in minutes, before finding some new way to digitally torment the faculty. Eventually, I just burned out. I created a bubble around him, managed his disruptions, and quietly waited for him to graduate. 20 years flew by. I'm now the head of the department, a few years from retirement, watching our school slowly crumble from budget cuts. And last month, the news broke. A massive, anonymous donation had saved us. Benefactor was the founder of Cerberus, one of the biggest cybersecurity firms in the world, and he was visiting for a special assembly. He stood at the back of the auditorium as our principal introduced him. A man in a simple gray t-shirt and jeans walked onto the stage. My blood ran cold. It was Leo Cantor. After his speech, he made his way through the crowd directly to me. I braced myself for an awkward, look-at-me-now moment. "Mr. Gable," he said, a small smile on his face, "I'm sure you remember me." "I remember you, Leo," I said, my voice tighter than I wanted. "You were a challenge." "I know," he said, his smile never fading. "I came back to apologize and to thank you." I was stunned. "Thank me for what? I gave up on you, I failed you." He shook his head. "No, sir, you didn't. You taught me the most important lesson of my life. Do you remember me messing with the school network, the bells, the printers?" I nodded. "How could I forget?" "I wasn't just being a punk," he said, his voice dropping slightly. "I had found a massive security flaw in the school district's network. Backdoor that left every student's personal data completely exposed. I tried to email the IT department, but they were a third-party service that ignored student tickets. I didn't have the words to explain the severity of it, so I tried to show you. Smartboard, the printers, that was me demonstrating the exploit. It wasn't disruption, it was a warning." I just stared at him, my mind reeling back through 2 decades of certainty. "Nobody listened," he continued. "I realized that finding the problem isn't the whole job. You have to learn how to communicate it. You have to learn to speak the language of the people you need to convince. It's the lesson I learned in your class, Mr. Gable. My disruptions were my first failed product pitch. Cerberus was born from that failure. The student I had written off as a lost cause wasn't a rebel. He was a visionary trying to communicate in the only way he knew how. My greatest failure as a teacher was my most profound, accidental success. I hadn't taught him how to code. I had shown him the critical importance of being understood. I spent 20 years thinking I failed Leo Cantor. The truth is, I just wasn't listening in the right language. It's completely changed how I see the students in my classroom today. It makes you wonder how much potential we miss simply because it doesn't fit our expectations. Who in your life might be trying to tell you something important, just not in the way you're used to hearing it? I'd love to read your story in the comments, and if you're ready to see potential differently, subscribe.